Hi Zeta, I'm planning a big trip to Japan for next October. Do you have any tips, tricks, do's, or don'ts for a vacation to Japan? A few of us have been.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's been like over a decade for me. You guys more recently.
Fairly, yes.
Yeah. So things I've noticed. When we went over there, we didn't buy data sims. We mostly just tried to rely upon Wi-Fi. But these days, I bet it's just easier to buy like an eSIM online and do that.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's whole hog on eSIMs.
Okay. In terms of finding places to stay, do you plan all your hotel stays and everything like beforehand when you get there, or do you just kind of like go by, I know there's some places around here I can go?
I used to be much younger and more willing to play it by ear.
Oh, yeah?
So this time I did go ahead and book everything in advance, and it worked out pretty well, actually.
Okay.
So, that said, we did stay at the same place we had for the last time we were there almost a decade ago.
Oh.
Which turned out to be a great choice. It's in the Kamedo station area. And just a nice little area that's just a couple stops outside of straight up Kanda or Akihabara. So, great place to stay.
Because if you're like, you went together, if somebody was going by themselves, you could try to do the capsule hotel things. There's lots of really cool capsule hotels these days.
Assuming you're male, you're going to be okay in capsule hotels anywhere in Japan.
Right.
If you present female, there are female capsule hotels, but they are
too much.
You're pretty much limited to the major cities. Osaka, Tokyo.
Tiny foot.
My big legs.
But yeah, no. I always like business hotels.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because they are relatively cheap. They're very easy to get, and they're a utility hotel.
And when I traveled, like when Heather and I went, like 10 years ago, longer than that, I guess, by this point, we stayed at Toyoku Inn just about everywhere. And because it's the only business hotel that I knew of. And now, because the internet and there's way more Japan guides for travel and stuff, I know of like a dozen different types of those hotels that are out there. And a lot of them will have like English websites and stuff.
As a note, though, when I did do my bookings, if you, depending on how fluent or how good your translation applications are, comparing the price booking directly from the hotel in Japan on their site versus a booking site, a North American style booking site, roughly the same price. So
Okay, cool.
And you're not going to get much better service either way anyway.
I liked the idea, like the staying in Toyoku Inns were very comfortable because we always knew what we were going to get, and that it was like there'll be a double bed, and like not a very big room, very small room, but at least you will have a bed, shower, toilet, sink, kind of all one big plastic thing that's all inside. And it was like, we know we have our own bathroom, we know we have our own bed, we know that everything's kind of very Western feeling. We can wash all of our clothing in the sink or the bath, or we can go downstairs and use the laundry if we want to. It's coin laundry, but
and coin laundry is a lot more viable in Japan than you might think it is.
Yeah.
One of the things I've just recently considered doing the next time I'm going there is planning a couple larger base stay hotels.
Oh, okay.
Where you stay for 2 or 3 days and a few one-night stops in between those. The idea being that you go to your base and you ship your luggage there from the airport, leave it there, then ship your main luggage from that hotel to your next base hotel, and take enough for a one-night stop at wherever you're going in between.
So if you have like big things with you, you're basically saying just move it from hotel to hotel so it follows me around.
Because it's extremely cheap.
And then you have a day bag.
Right. Yeah.
Separately.
It just has your clothes and maybe
backpack,
your medications or whatever, and you're good. Yeah. Neat. I didn't think about that as an option.
I hadn't thought about that either, and it's just it came to mind because there's been an uptick in foreigners misusing the luggage areas in Shinkansen.
Yes.
And just because of the over-tourism, a lot less space on Shinkansen for luggage. So the Japanese travel agencies are really pushing people towards these sort of shipping things. And I thought, it just actually makes sense, too.
I remember one thing that we did is we maybe only had ever had 2 meals a day, and we probably end up you grab one at a Family Mart or 7-Eleven or whatever. But also, Heather and I didn't eat at restaurants every evening. A lot of times we would just go to a supermarket. So it's worth looking for supermarkets or shopping streets. And especially if you know when they're going to close, to get time service so you can get bentos for half price is a great way to save money.
Yep.
And a great way to kind of like change up whatever you've been eating the entire time, because maybe you don't want to eat ramen every night. Maybe you don't want to, do those things. And more places than you think, especially in larger cities, will have English menus.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially now, it's become. And if they don't have an English menu, your phone is going to be just fine at translating whatever you pointed at.
Very quickly.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That was the thing I was a little concerned about. Is I'm like, I'd like to eat in a few more holes in the wall and stuff like that, like just smaller things.
It was good enough that we could point it at like the tutorial menus on like the rhythm games.
Oh yeah.
The arcades.
Okay.
And they'd be fine.
Nice.
No, the translate app is amazing. I use it at Japanese grocery all the time.
Japan Rail Pass.
Sucks.
Okay, good. Yes, you should know that too.
Well, it's not that it necessarily sucks, but there are sites online that will be able to tell you if it sucks or not for you.
It's one of those things that like used to be everyone gets one. It's like the go-to thing, but now the value proposition has diminished. a
Very
lot.
much so. Yeah, they've cut down on the. They've made it activate it now, and it's good for a running series of days. Whereas before you could activate it for, it would be good for 5 days, but you could use one day, not use it for 2 days, and then use it another day. It needs to be more transferable. And it's also gotten a lot more expensive. There are sites out there that you can plug in where you're going, and find out is it worth getting a Japan Rail Pass. And riding the rails are cool. Do it locally as much as you can, but do not discount the buses, again, especially with the translation services available. The buses will get you everywhere, and as something I'd read recently pointed out just as well, you'll see more of the city on a bus.
Oh, that's true.
You'll also have more of that serendipity. You're like, oh, that looks interesting. Ding dong, get off the bus. But also, and I do your own calculus with regards to your feelings around the climate, but if you're worried about price specifically, airfare with the domestic airfare in Japan is dirt cheap.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, it cost us, I think, 5,000 yen dollars.
Yes.
Basically $50
Yeah.
to get from Tokyo to Akita.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
It's almost nothing, and the experience of Japanese air travel domestically is like getting on a train.
Right.
You get like a receipt with an
QR.
QR code
Okay.
on it, and you use that to drop your baggage. You enter security and board your plane.
That's cool.
You
Okay.
just like
Boop, boop,
boop,
boop.
boop, boop. Yeah, it's like going to a museum.
Ow.
Oh, and if you have an iPhone or a Android phone capable of it, I don't know how Android works.
Yeah.
But I know that on the iPhone, I was able to set up a Suica RF card for
Right.
payment from Canada. So I had it on my phone when I was touched down, and it's set up in such a way that you can use it if you check the buttons for it. Set up so that it will work even if your phone loses all battery power, so you don't have to worry about
I did have an issue where I couldn't reload it on the last day.
Is it worth keeping cash on you still?
Absolutely.
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still a cash-based society.
That was the big thing that I when we went over there is like everywhere that I could pay by credit card, I would pay by credit card, and I would eat the Forex, which I hated, but I was doing it, and because we Heather and I each had 30,000 yen, so about $3,000, or sorry, $300 worth of yen on us. 30,000 yen on us in money belts or like hidden about our person, so that if we needed cash, if we got into a big scrape and we couldn't do things, it's like we have some money to be able to pay for a thing while we try to figure out what it is we're going to do.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, if MasterCards and Suicas actually help cover a lot of that, how much cash do you really end up pulling out of your pocket? But I guess you must still pull cash out of your pocket.
Well, especially at like Design Festa,
Yeah.
which was like some people had like Square kind of thing, but I ran out of cash and had to go to the 7-Eleven bank.
If you're going for a comic festa or
Like a Dojin thing.
any of these events that are
I mean,
at the big site.
Or if you're going to be at like going to an actual festival and like paying at stalls.
Oh, yeah,
and stuff.
exactly, yeah.
Right.
I mean that's a thing for just conventions in general. You know, usually cash is.
Yeah, but like we needed cash to get the fish to eat our dead feet skin,
But
and to buy some street food.
the
You put
important
you put your feet in, the fish will like pay us.
We put our feet in, and they only went to Ian. They ignored me.
Wow.
Maybe because your feet were already perfect.
You'd already worn off all the skin through all the walking.
Your feet were pristine.
They're like, hey, you go, hey fish, maybe couple hundred yen will convince you to come eat my feet.
Yeah, just throw money in the water.
Yeah.
I got pristine feet. Pristine.
reservations are a big thing now.
Yeah.
Especially with so much tourism. So get to know the whatever the current Japanese restaurant reservation systems are. I know that Open Table does work there, but there's a few more that are more popular. Google the restaurant you want to go to. They probably have a link to their reservation system, and I can guarantee you that most of them will work either with a built-in English translation or with your browser's built-in translation.
Huh. Okay. Well, good to know. Somebody had brought up in chat, get a Wise card, Wise Business. We have I've got a Wise card through business right now, so I can pay for things in U.S. dollars without actually spending Canadian dollars to change into U.S. dollars. You know, so we pay for enough stuff in American here that it just made sense to try to keep everything in the same currency. And that got so easy to do that I was like, oh, I could literally just set up my own Wise account for myself. Heather and I could set one up and be like, put some Canadian dollars in it, get a really good exchange rate
Turn
in
it
yen,
Japanese,
and just pay in yen every single time, right? Like that. I think that might be a thing we'll end up doing too.
Yeah.
So that's great. That's really cool. Because telling people about you should go see this or you should go do this, it's like you probably know why you're going in the first place. Like I already know for Heather and I, it's like I want to go spend 5 days in Okinawa where I'm not doing much of anything, right?
Yep.
Maybe we'll go to an aquarium. Maybe we'll go sit in the we definitely got to go sit in the hot springs. But it's like I don't have a lot of plans for what we should do while we're there. I don't want to go on biking tours all over the islands. I don't want to do whatever, right? But it's just like I want to do this. I want to do this and just beach it, and that would be great. And then we can fly to Kyoto and we can do a couple things there. We can go to Tokyo and we can do a few things there and just be like, we'll slow down. Because when we were younger, I was trying to do one thing every single day, and by the end of that trip, Heather was like, I hated that we had to try to do one thing every day. Yeah. And I've learned that lesson. I'm like, do not do that again. Let's actually take our time this time.
I had one day on, one day off.
That's good.
For our plans.
That sounds good.
I had too much energy.
Yeah, it's fair, right? Like, I would get excited because I was like, the other day I was looking and I'm like, oh, right, we'll be in Kyoto, Kiyomizu-dera. I want to go to Kiyomizu-dera. I want to stand at the, the thing and look down and see how far down it goes and stuff. That'll be a trip. And like, oh, but I also want to see like the torii gates, the hundreds of orange torii gates, right? And like, I want to go to an Inari shrine, and I want to do all these other things. And like, maybe all these things will be near each other, but they probably won't. And then I'll have to figure out how to get to all of them. And ultimately, it's like, you're going to go to Kyoto, go to the Nintendo Museum. That's what you're doing today. That's all you're doing today. Do it when you're done. When you guys have finished and you bought your stuff in the gift shop and you're finished, go back to the hotel. Go get some food. Do not try to do more stuff. And we'll see how that
Good
goes.
luck.
Yeah, thank you. Try not to get overwhelmed, right?
I spend all day at the Nintendo Museum.
I mean, that is the
There's all sorts
idea.
of fun stuff.
There-
Giant video games to play.
Yeah, you should go up to Akita and go see the TDK Museum.
The TDK?
Yes.
Like the people who make
But like hoops,
media?
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
and magnets.
And
They
they
make
do.
magnets.
Huh.
That's their big thing.
They make magnets, okay.
Yeah, and that's how they got into the media, was because they figured, Mr. TDK himself figured out how to make a special method of making high resolution magnetic tape.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you can see a big wall with every piece of media they've ever manufactured over the years.
I didn't. We're not going to Akita. No.